What's up? I'm Brian Moote, host of Hawks Latest here on the Fan Arch Network. We got some things to get into today. Did the East get tough? Well, we know that it got tougher, but just how much tougher did it get? Now the NBA kind of decided that Ballmer did nothing wrong, guys. Nothing. No salary cap circumvention there. It's just Kawhi trying to make money. That's all. Not look at the billionaire in LA. No weird shady deals, dude getting $20 million to endorse planting trees to offset carbon footprints. All right, we'll get to that. Also, what's Kyle Korver's legacy around here? And it looked like Kuminga gone. But we already kind of knew that. I saw this trade today, and it's Kevin Durant and leaving Houston. And the idea is, should the Hawks put together a trade package for Kevin Durant to bring him here? He's going to make $43.9 next season. I'll tell you that right now. That's probably not going to work for the Hawks in the current salary cap situation that we have. And we just know that we're not trying to spend that money on Kevin Durant. Not that he's not worth it. I mean, legendary, like Hall of Famer, legend, amazing, one of the top players in the game. He was 26, 5, and 5 last year. And I guess the argument is that he would be a great piece to help Jalen Johnson hit the next level of his career, take a lot of pressure off him on the offensive end. I saw that Jalen Johnson, I think, is the number one in the playoffs last year with players with more than 50 drives. I saw this on Twitter, that Jalen Johnson was like the number one in terms of like least amount of turnovers per drives to the hole, to the rack, to the bucket. It's like 1.17 or something. Very low. So he's knows how to take care of the ball. He's a great finisher. I think he was a 99 in drive dunks in NBA 2K7, which I believe is accurate for every play. I go based on 2K7 ratings. If you have a 2K7 rating of 99, I think we're going to win the title. So in this trade, hypothetically speaking, and again, the argument is that Durant offers us a confident closer, dude who can get a shot anywhere. Also a guy that can mentor Jalen Johnson, who has all the skills. I mean, he doesn't have Durant's length. You're not called Durantula without having arms that are what Kevin Durant has. But his ability to get a shot and score and be confident and close out games is something that Kevin Durant can do. Now, the issue would be Dyson Daniels would be gone in this trade. We'd also have to get rid of a couple other players too, because that's a hefty amount of salary, 43.9. Now, granted, we do have a lot of salary cap flexibility next year, but my argument would be, why would we pay for these veterans? Because I believe LeBron opened the door for veterans to say, you know what? I can make up the money. Like, yeah, I'm not going to get $43.9 million, but if I go to, LeBron's in Philly for a reason. He wants to bring a title to Philadelphia, like an NBA heritage team, a fan base that won't give a crap. Philadelphia will not care that LeBron did not spend his entire career in Philadelphia if he brings them a title. It's the same for a lot of teams. In markets like that, like, I don't think Houston's one of those. To be honest, I don't think, Atlanta's not. But there is plenty, if you're in show business, there's plenty of money to be made down here if you wanted to be in production. And I know Kevin Durant has some of those things that he works in. So it would make more sense. It makes a lot of sense. But there are only certain teams that you go to, you win a title, and you could use that as a marketing piece forever. Maybe not Celtics anymore. They've won a couple. Philly's up there. The Knicks were one, which LeBron says he took off the table because they won a title. It's like he wants to bring a title to somebody that's never had one. And so I love Durant. I was a Seattle guy. I grew up in Seattle. But that's where he should go. Go to Seattle. Start a team there in Seattle, because it's not going to happen here in Atlanta. I just don't see us parting with one, Dyson Daniels, all defense, and that's just a lot of salary to take on. When I do believe a lot of these guys, like Steph Curry, I think is going to be someone who's going to sign for less. Like, you're on the back half of your career. Just have fun. Go out a winner. Go to a new city that will buy you drinks for life. All right, the Kuminga return to the return to the Hawks. We've known that door's been shutting for a long time, especially when we signed Dort and Wiggins. But it's getting kind of dire in the sign and trade situation here. We've seen the trade scenarios, but Minnesota can only offer Kuminga a minimum deal. So it looks like the Lakers or Cleveland would be the only two teams that he would want to go to as an unrestricted free agent with a sign and trade from Atlanta. But LA's offer stinks, and Cleveland's might be good if they're going to part with Jarrett Allen. We've kind of mentioned that a little bit, that we need to move a couple players over and handle not a problem, but getting a proven big would be great in Jarrett Allen. It just doesn't seem like that's going to be realistic either. So I don't really know. Kuminga doesn't. I mean, he has a ton of potential. He just has not played great. He averaged 13 and 3 in the Knicks series, but I believe he had some big games and some bad games. He averaged 12 and 6 for the season. That's not $20 million money. He might have $20 million a season talent, but not based on his production so far. And he doesn't really seem, kind of looking back at it, he doesn't have the guy kind of energy. I know that sounds weird, but you don't really look at Kuminga and be like, yeah, that's the dude. We can rely on him. It's like he has moments where you're like, oh my God, look at that athleticism. They have moments where what happened? Where is he? Is he even playing today? So it'll be interesting. It's still a situation that needs to get resolved. It's not like he's not going to play. I mean, I'm assuming that something's going to happen with him, but it feels like the longer it goes, the less he's going to make guaranteed. So maybe, I know there's, people are saying it looks pretty unrealistic that he ends up re-signing with Atlanta, but if it's for a super team-friendly deal, why wouldn't you bring back that kind of athlete? So, all right. So as we know, Kyle Korver left, assistant GM. I'm pretty sure it's because he didn't get the GM position. Because, I've been sitting around here. The more I think about it, the more embarrassing it'd be for him, right? He's he's one of those, I don't know, let's say legendary Hawks. They're debating whether he should get his jersey in the rafters. But he's probably a decent shot to get into the NBA Hall of Fame, though they let a lot of people into that thing. But what is his legacy, right? It seems like I feel like he's getting an unfair amount of Landry Field's poor decisions. And from what I'm reading and kind of hearing, it feels like he was tasked with working on some of the problem players, like Reza Shea. He spent a lot of time working with Reza Shea, getting his confidence up, working to make him to get the value out of that pick. Because if you're a GM and you had the first pick in the draft in a weak draft, mind you, not a great draft, but that was his project. Was that how do we get value out of Reza Shea? And maybe the trade of Reza Shea was a thing where it's like, well, that's the guy I've been working on. You guys just traded away my own, the only project I had, which is the one I'm seeing. I mean, I'm sure you did a lot more, but it was, pretty apparent that he had a few players that he was really working on in terms of helping them get to be the player that they need to be or that we need them to be, whether or not, I'm sure they want to be that too, but Reza Shea was one of them, and it's got to hurt. We're just like, yeah, that thing you've been working on, that project, over. So I guess we'll find out where Korver lands next. From all accounts, though, he was an easy guy to work with, knows what he's doing, knows basketball. So maybe he also felt like, look, I'm not going to be the one who, as the assistant GM, kind of takes the fall for these players that, to be honest, I'm not drafting, right? He's not. He's the assistant. So maybe he's giving input, he's scouting, he's giving his input on these picks, but at the end of the day, he's not the one pulling the trigger on picking Reza Shea overall. Because I've seen a lot of blogs speculating, what if we took Alex Sarr? Which Alex Sarr is supposed to have a great season in Washington. But But so far, he hasn't lit the place up either. It's just been Stephon Castle from that draft. So if you're going to criticize him for anything, why not take the dude from Georgia? I mean, he did play at UConn, but take the guy from Georgia, hometown kid, who's been incredible for San Antonio and still young, still got a lot of upside. So, all right, the East got a lot stronger. So I'm reading here that the Raptors trade for Kawhi Leonard is official, or it's going through in the process of that after the NBA decided that Ballmer didn't do anything wrong, which I still find funny. Like, there was more than enough evidence to show that there was some shady things happening when it comes to salary cap circumvention, and a sponsor that was working with the team, Aspire, who was an arena sponsor at one point. They were on the back of chairs at one point, and then all of a sudden they're like, never mind, we're done with that. Keep moving. And all the LLCs that Uncle Dennis, Kawhi's uncle, took out. But apparently the NBA is saying, like, look, our investigation says we can't stop people from making money outside of the NBA as long as they're just, they're above board and doing business dealings. Like, and then, they're not being paid for specific play. I guess we can't do anything about it. So that'll be interesting. That's not done. That whole situation's not done. But I do see the NBA is just like, how do we get out of arguing with Ballmer? Like, he's got so much money, none of this matters to him. He's like, by the time we're done with this conversation, he's made a couple $1 million, and personally. And so if he wants to lock us up in litigation forever, that's what he'll do. So the East looks, it's stronger. Giannis is down in Miami. That's a problem for us. LeBron is in Philly. That's a problem for us. Paul George in Boston. Jalen in Philadelphia, that swap. If Paul George can play again or still give any reasonable minutes, that Boston will still be good. Everyone acted like it was such a drop-off. Look, Jaylen Brown's great, but Paul George isn't terrible. As far as I know, he can still play. And maybe that's what they need, like more usage going to Jason Tatum, and everything's fine. So the Eastern Conference is going to be a task to get through. It'll be interesting to see where our record is at shaping up towards the latter half of the season, whether or not we're buyers or sellers towards the end of the season when it comes to trades. So we'll see. But the East definitely got more interesting with LeBron and Giannis